Hi everyone, I'm Tim and welcome to Badfish Garage. Today we're going to cover one of the most important things you can do for your vehicle maintenance-wise to keep it on the road, and that's how to change the oil. So today's victim is going to be a 2012 Toyota RAV4 V6 if you care, and we're going to get started on it. Alright, here's what we're going to need to do the job. So we've got a set of ramps so that we can get underneath the vehicle so that we can reach everything we need to get the oil drained. You could alternatively use jack stands and a jack, but I have the ramps here. The car is an automatic, it's handy. We also have our oil. You can see what kind of oil that you need and how much in either your vehicle's manual or by looking it up on the web. Also underneath the hood there'll be a couple places that'll tell you what kind of oil you need. You also need a filter, that way you have a clean one. You'll need a wrench to get your drain plug, and of course something to catch the oil like my catch can here, and a funnel to put the oil back in. First thing we'll need to do is go ahead and drive it up on the ramps. Don't forget to pop the hood once you have them open. Alright, one thing I forgot to mention, and before we get underneath this thing for sure, when I put it up on the ramps, I made sure it was in park. I had the parking brake engaged, and I may even chalk the back wheels for safety. Last thing we want is this thing rolling down on me. Now that we have it up, hood is popped, everything's set, parking brake, everything's safe, and we can pop the hood. In this particular model, we've got a little hood stick right there. Now, you know what? Let's get you in here so you can see what I'm talking about. So modern cars, they pretty much have it covered in plastic on top, so there's not a whole lot to see. But if we look right here on the oil cap, it tells us what kind of oil we need. That's 5W30. It's not a bad idea to check other things while we're under here. Coolant looks good. And back over here, we also have brake fluid, which also looks good. We're right there at the max line. That's where we want to be. Battery's got some corrosion that I can clear, but nothing too major. Alright, now that we've got all this up, we'll go ahead and take off the oil cap. That way when we drain the oil at the bottom, it'll drain out a little faster. Alright, let's get everything we need set up underneath. We gave the engine a little time to cool down. Next thing we want to do is locate our drain plug, which is at the bottom of the engine sump or oil pan. This particular one is a 14mm, so we'll put that on there like so, and then we'll loosen it. Now, what I like to do is get it a little loose, and then get my finger in there and apply pressure to it as I spin it off. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing up towards the pan, in an effort to make less mess, really. So we'll get there, and then looks like it let go, and nope, still have some threads left. And ha! That made a mess anyway. Alright, and now we'll let that oil drain. Now this particular sump is 6.4 quarts of oil, so it may take a minute. We've got to make sure we're catching it in our pan here, and then we'll wait for that to finish. While that's finishing draining, we can take a look at our drain plug. A couple things to note. The tips of these tend to be magnetic, so if your engine is shredding metal or anything inside, you should see it right there. Also, you want to check this surface around the washer here and make sure that it seals. Some of you will have drain plugs that will have secondary washers or second piece washers. Now, this one appears to have stuck to the pan a little bit, but it still seals well, so we won't mess with it. Don't fix it if it's not broken, I suppose. But you can get those washers for your drain plug at any auto parts store, O'Reilly's, AutoZone, Advance, any of those. But you always want to check this and make sure everything is looking good, as well as you want to check the quality of your oil coming out. As we see this one, not super dark. We try to change it on regular intervals, but you can kind of get an idea. It smells like normal oil, it doesn't smell burnt, doesn't smell like fuel. It's doing what it should. Alright, oil is all drained. We'll go ahead and start threading this back up. Went ahead and wiped off any excess oil we have so it doesn't smell like oil when we crank it. Alright, Now, these do have torque specs. I do not know the torque spec for this one, so I'm just going to put it on and tighten it just past snug. Helps if I have the ratchet going the right way. Just past snug to prevent any leaks but not over torque that. And next we'll move on to the oil filter. Alright, I have moved the drain pan over, and to get to the oil filter on this particular model, it is what's known as a canister style. And so it's up in here, and you remove the socket, you just put that up in there, and then you loosen it. Then you fight it, and then you loosen it. If we come over here to the S10 real quick, this one uses what's called a spin-on filter, which is what most engines use. You can see what I mean, it's a little different than that canister style. Alright, so we'll go ahead and finish this up. Not really a such thing as not make a mess out of this. Oh! Splash a little on my face there. Ooh, it's in my eye. Alright, so note to self, or anyone watching, use safety glasses when you do things like this. But we got the canister filter out, and we'll go ahead and change it out here in just a second. Now that we've got the filter out of the car, I thought I'd show you what I mean about this. So it's literally filter inside of a little canister. And I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but it's very clean. Like I said, the engine oil from this stays pretty clean. This is a pretty well maintained car. But we'll open the box here. We don't need this because this is for many different models of Toyota. We will need these, but we have our new filter here. So we can take our filter, it can go in here either way, and then we'll put it in right here inside the canister. And I went ahead and pushed it down because it has a little spring in here just to ensure that it was seated. Now once we have that, we can open up these O-rings that came with it, which maybe I should have done before I got oil all over my hands, but you know, what are you gonna do? There we go. And really for this one, we just need this big one. So what we'll do is we'll take this O-ring here, and it might be hard to see on camera, but we'll get it right off the side here. Right off. And then we'll oil this one up. We'll use some of the oil off the old filter. Some people like to use fresh oil. Me personally, I just want to make sure it's lubed a little bit so it seals. You don't want a dry O-ring. Otherwise, this, like I said, this oil itself is not too filthy, so it's not really going to hurt it for what we're doing. Then we'll just put it right back over the top. We'll funnel it down, and we'll put it inside of its groove here. Just work it down evenly. It is rubber, it is kind of thin, so you know, don't push it too hard, you don't want to tear it. And there we go. With a little bit of cleanup, this is ready to go back into the vehicle. And as before, I am kind of wiping down this little canister itself just to ensure that, you know, we don't have as much oil burn off later. All right. We are back under the car. We've got our canister here. We'll put it up here. We'll start threading it in. It's got convenient little wings on it. Just for this purpose. And so you can go ahead and get it tight. Just like before, I'm sure there's some sort of torque spec for this, but I'm just going to get it to just past snug. That way it doesn't leak. As we can see, snug, there we go. Right there, we hit the end of the thread. All right. We'll go ahead and get a rag and clean that up real quick, that little oil streak, and then we'll be done under here. Alright, so luckily for my back and everyone else involved, we are done under the motor. So the next part is we're going to go ahead and put fresh oil in there. So I've got a funnel because I'm going to make a mess otherwise. I'm going to put it right here where we took the oil cap off. And it takes 6.4 quarts. So we've got 5, 6, 7. So we're going to take all 5, this one right here, and just about half of this one. and then that should get us where we need to go. So first things first, we'll go ahead and open this one. And you know, I could have alternatively used a sharp object or something more convenient than that, but why? When I could just do that. Alright, so I will hold, and I would act like I was going to go for the perfect pour, but you know, I have a funnel, so not as important. So we'll have to be a little more careful here. So as we can, if you can see that, the markings on the side, we're going to want to go to just about here. And that should make us 0.4 of the quart. Okay. Almost. Yep, and I don't know if you can see that, but 0.5 is half, which is that mark there, so we're should be right in the safe range. But we'll verify that before we're done. So we take the funnel out. We can put the cap back on, of course. And remove our garbage. Now, since I'm a nice guy, I'm also going to refill the washer fluid in this particular vehicle. I know she goes through a lot of it, and somewhere here in Texas, most of us probably do. So it's right here behind the coolant reservoir. It's a little cap that we open, and then we'll just pour it in. I'm not relying on a funnel this time. We'll just pour it until it's full, so we can see it at the top, or we can hear that sound change. Yep, it definitely needed it. Oh, here it comes. And that's full. Alright, we'll click that shut so we keep debris out of it. And it looks like we're almost done. Now, from here, next steps vary. So what I like to do is I like to go ahead and crank the car, let the engine oil circulate for a second, and then check the oil and make sure that everything's copacetic on all the levels are good. So first thing I'll do is crank it. Only for a moment. Alright, and that should have given us what we need to verify that the engine's circulating. Now on this particular model, the dipstick's right up front. That makes that convenient. We'll go ahead and pull it. Since the engine oil circulated, we'll wipe it down first go for our first time because we're not going to have any accurate reading on the stick. We'll put it back in so that it can read the oil from the sump. And then we'll check it. Now I don't know if you can see that because it's difficult to see, but it does look like we need a little bit additional. Okay. To add the additional oil, we'll do just like we did before. We'll open up the oil cap here. We'll put in the filter. And we shouldn't need too much more. Some of that's just caught up because, well, I let the engine run for a second. But we're within safe operating range, so that's good. So we'll just add a little bit more. So, okay, now we're at almost a quarter, so we've added almost three quarters of a quart, and that should be more than sufficient. Alright, let's pull that dipstick again, give it a try, see where we're at. We'll give it a wipe first time, always a good idea to do it. We'll put it back in and get another reading. I don't know if you can catch that on camera, but that looks right at perfect. Alright, so we'll go ahead, put that in. And then, for all intents and purposes, for an oil change, we're done. A few other things I like to do, obviously I like to clean up after myself. I also like to put a sticker in the window with the current mileage, or when the mileage needs to be, when the oil needs to be changed again. Before I got all nasty, I went ahead and took the mileage that was in the car and today's date. And being that I got synthetic motor oil, I put the date for 6 months from now, and I put the mileage for 6,000 miles. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. And then that way, when I put it up in the window, it just lets us know when this thing is ready for its next oil change. It also has a little indicator light in there that will tell us maintenance required. We can go by that as well, but I prefer to go by the miles just in case it's wrong for some reason. Like I said, we try to keep it well maintained. It goes for groceries and road trips and things like that. Alright, we'll put the new sticker up. Right here in this top corner, just like an actual lube shop would do. And this way we know when the next service and mileage are for the oil, so we don't miss it. Alright, now that we've got all that complete, we can go ahead and close the hood, crank the car, get it off the ramps, get it back on solid ground, and then we can start cleaning up. Thank you for joining me today. That's how to change your oil. It's pretty easy, and it's the most important thing you can do for maintenance. Don't forget to like or subscribe, leave a comment below, let us know if this helped you out or not.